What if I told you that there's a parasite in your brain nudging at your decisions and your personality? This includes how much risk you're willing to take. This common parasite affects all people around the world. In some regions, it exceeds over 66%. Here in the United States, it's roughly estimated to be 11%. It has been linked to shift in risk-taking, personalities, and how much we think without us even knowing. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 signs that you can watch out for. Stay tuned. What is it? It's called Toxoplasma gondii. For years, many believed that it went dormant, forming cysts in the brain and muscle tissue. But newer research has challenged that assumption. Parasites may be meddling with your brain chemistry, quietly influencing the systems that make you you. To understand how, we need to look at its unsettling brilliance and life cycle. The parasite endgame is to get inside of a cat. This is the only place where it can reproduce. Infected cats shed millions of eggs inside their feces called oocysts. These oocysts contaminate the water, the soil, and surfaces, and its immediate host, often the mice, ingest them. Inside the mice, Toxoplasma forms cysts, especially in the brain. And that's where the mind control seems to kick in. Healthy mice avoid the scent of cat, period. Infected mice can flip from fear to attraction. These fatal attractions draw them to what they should be terrified of. The mice get eaten, the parasite returns to the cat, the cycles get reset and repeats. Now, humans are accidental, dead-end hosts. We can be affected by handling contaminated cat litter, eating uncooked produce, or consuming uncooked meat. The parasite forms cysts in our brain and wait, but it might not be silent. Some of the same strings it pulls in mice could be nudging in our behaviors too. Sign 1. Subliminal shift in risk-taking. You might not suddenly want to start skydiving or gambling, but research shows there is something strange going on. People with Toxoplasma gondii tend to become a little bit more daring, bold, and they might not even realize it. Scientists believe the reason may lie deeply inside your brain chemistry, specifically dopamine, that molecule that drives motivation, rewards, and your pleasure. This parasite actually carries the production gene that influence the dopamine. In simple terms, it may be tweaking the very systems that tell your brain when something is wrong and when to feel exciting. Here's where it gets even more unsettling. Multiple studies have been found of people who carry the parasites are slightly at a higher risk of getting in a car accident. Not because they're reckless, their reaction time slows down just enough that it matters. Combine that with a small boost of impulsively, and suddenly that split second become a danger zone on the road. So if you ever noticing yourself taking chances you normally wouldn't, or acting before you think, it might not just be a personality, it could be biologically. And that's only the first sign. The rabbit hole goes much deeper. Sign 2 is weird and debated. Some studies suggest that Toxoplasma gondii nudges personality based on different sex. In some data sets, infected men tend to show more jealousy and suspense. Results are mixed and not always replicate. The mechanics isn't clear. Hormones like testosterone may play a major big role, but the big idea is this. A micro might be one of many forces nudging our baseline trait. Have you noticed a subliminal change on how disciplined, trusting, and outgoing you feel compared to a few years ago? If your personalities can shift, what about your reaction speed? That thing that saves you in a split second. Sign number 3 is slow reaction time. Multiple studies show that people with latent infections show slightly slower reaction time from simple taps, from real-world split-second choices. This isn't about intelligence. It's about signal speed from the brain to the muscle, which may partly explain why some infected groups show more accident rates. Let's make this real for you. Grab your phone and open any reaction time test app or a simple timer. Here's the mini experiment. We'll do 3 quick taps. Pause the video, test yourself, and come back. If you consistently slower than your normal baseline, that's a data point, not a diagnosis. And that raises the question, if your reflection time slows just a bit, could your thinking feel just a bit foggier too? Which brings us to sign number 4. Toxoplasma can form cysts in your neurons and create a low-grade inflammation in your brain. Some studies linked infections to modern dip in working memories and executive functions. You know, that stuff that runs planning, organizing, and your decision making. But the evidence is mixed. Not everyone feels, not every study agrees. Some people report feeling a bit slower and scattered or more disorganized as they remember being. So check yourself. Are you having those where's my keys moments lately? Harder to plan your day or switch tasks? Instead of judging yourself on bad days, track it for a week. Notice patterns, not single moments. And now we move into the most studied and the most sensitive area. This is where the conversation gets serious. Toxoplasma effect on dopamine and neuroinflammation may increase the risk for conditions like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder in people who are already vulnerable. To be clear, the parasite does not single-handedly cause these disorders. It's one potential environmental risk amongst many. Along genetics, trauma, life stress, and substance use, and many more. Interestingly, a few studies in long-term serve mental illness have even found reduced psychotic symptoms in people with the infections. That tells us biologically it's complex, messy, and still has an unfold. If you're worried about your mood, your thinking, or your behavior, talk to a qualified clinician or your physician, or talk to a qualified doctor. Curiosity is power, but self-diagnosis not. So we covered risk-taking, personality shift or drift, reaction time, cognitive fog, and psychology links. The big question is this: what can you do about it?